You're in for a real treat in this, the 5th video of our Galapagos Islands excursion, the scientific trip of a lifetime. It was a treat riding the Pangas through the jagged volcanic formations, being greeted by playful sea lions wherever we went. Floreana is the southmost island of the Galapagos archipelago. All landings were wet, beginning at Post Office Bay and then at Cormorant Point on the other side of the island. Post Office Bay was the science team's first wet landing, and they immediately began making scientific observations of different beach sands under the field microscope.
So is here since 1793. So we're gonna see that, and also it's good to see, the sand around here is not the same as yesterday. Is okay, all right, it's fine, but it's not so white. It's because here we have a different material. We have a volcano on the other side we're going to visit this afternoon, and it's not organic. So we have a lot of erosion on the base of that volcano. And this is what is mixed. This sand is organic with inorganic. As we go a little bit over there, we can just behind this bushes where we have this place.
The island's diverse landscapes, from lush highlands to sunlit beaches, provide a stunning backdrop for several hiking excursions, engaging with wildlife, and opportunities to observe marine and plant life.
Oh my. Hey guys, you gotta see this.
All right, one by one, you can kneel down and...
Wow, this is great.
Wow.
Make sure it's focused now with your eyes first.
Not really one.
Sort of. Looks like some seasoning. Pepper and salt and all that.
In the 18th century, whalers traveling through the islands placed a wooden barrel to serve as an unofficial mailbox.
Hey, look where we are.
There's the first post office in Galápagos in 1793. Still working, and we can just see some postcards that actually where they go, and you can figure out one or two, like it.
Okay.
Have,
Put the mail, that's the mail.
yeah, you can mail it, yeah.
Well, here we are on Floreana at the post office, the first one ever. And I have postcards to mail that I took out. One to Florida, one to the United Kingdom, and I'll send one to India. So you people will be getting your postcards in about 2 weeks' time.
This tradition continues today, with visitors leaving postcards in the barrel and sorting through the mail left by others to deliver when they return home.
Yes, hello.
Another thing that we're looking now is the cactus. Look at the Opuntia cactus.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't see yesterday Opuntia cactus because, the problem about Española. No too much cactus. But the cactus that we see around here are Opuntia cactus. And tomorrow we're going to be in Santa Fe Island. We're going to see the same Opuntia cactus, but 3-4 times bigger than those. It's a different subspecies, but it's the same Opuntia. Only 3 species of cactus are present in Galapagos, endemic to the islands. It's Opuntia, candelabros, and the lava cactus. Sí, vamos a los pingüinos. A los pingüinos primero si hay. Ahí te seguimos. So the frigate birds that we have over there is a lot of them are immatures, and I can see one nest over there. One of them is nesting in the adult, or two of them. But actually, frigate birds at that age, they still actually receive the food from the parents. So they need to be close to one area than close to the nesting place, because they stayed a long time on the nest. So sometimes longer than a year. Okay, so the penguins is the only penguin that we have in the Galapagos is a endemic penguin. Actually, this is the third smallest in all the world. We have the smallest in Australia, the second smallest in South Africa, and then Galapagos. About a little bit more than 1,000 animals we have in the Galapagos. Look at the sea lions here. There are baby sea lions playing behind a boat. They play with everything. So normally we have the baby sharks around here because it's a perfect place. But for sure that they were playing with the tail of those little sharks.
We've opened a new kindergarten. It's a kindergarten for the Galapagos sea lions, the 10 that joined us just now. And I'm glad we're not seeing the sharks at the moment, but I would actually like to have seen them playing with the sea lions. That's interesting to me since later on they are the predators.
Look at this side, sea lions.
Okay, we're in a little cove round the side of Floreana, and we're looking at the sand. This is the second amount of sand we've just picked up on a different beach. And as you look down there, there is quite a bit of green crystal, but there's also some black. I'm not seeing too much in the way of the shells. It's very pretty, but it's just amazing to me how many different types of colors and little stones there are in there. And what we've been told by the guide is that this has all been broken down by waves washing on the bottom of the volcano, one of the volcanoes, one of the 50. This has been the most incredible trip as we've come through into this little alcove. We arrived with an entire new kindergarten of little tiny baby sea lions, which just amazed us. They're so friendly and they just didn't want to leave. So,
Very neat.
what do you think, Bee?
I don't know. Let's see. It looks pretty similar to the other beach.
I think that's the prettiest yet.
Yes, there's more green in this one.
Yes, and clear crystals. You can see the actual crystals.
Yes. Haley? Okay. What a little beautiful fish on the camera.
Around here, the sand is a little different, so we can see different colors here. It's because just about a few months ago, we have the tsunami in Japan. And around here, also, the water coming up about 2 meters of the high tide. Higher than that, so we have more sand in some places and less sand in other areas. So this is why we have around here a combination, the green color over there and the white around here. So it's because the tsunami actually changed a little bit the shoreline in the Galapagos. Okay, and in Floreana, we have different zones of vegetation. Normally, we start with the littoral zone, and then we have a transition zone between the dry zone and the littoral. But we have the dry zone here, and we have all those trees, sandalwood tree or ancient trees that we have is a native from the Galapagos. And then we have the high part of the island that we have a Pajas Hill, the volcano, the highest volcano here in Floreana. That is a different kind of a vegetation. So we have in Santa Cruz, for example, all the entire island is covered by vegetation. So It's another old island. But to the west, Isabella, Fernandina, James Island, we're going to have a new spot with the black lava field and no vegetation. So that's actually really interesting, new line in the Galapagos. Mangroves, we have just a few places in the Galapagos. This is one of the few places. This is why we have a lot of life around here. The baby sharks grow there. And also we saw some frigate birds. And also underwater is really nice. Look at the turtles over there, 2-3 turtles over there. They're really big, The turtles, actually, the big turtles are normally females. Males are smaller than the females, and over there we can see like three females. Big ones coming up to breathe over there. 4. Oh, 5. 5 of them, yeah. It's a lot of them. From here we can see one of the volcanoes. It's called Devil's Crown Volcano. The little rocks over there. Inside there's a little island. That is Devil's Crown. And actually that volcano, that formation never happened underwater. So some of the formations here in the Galapagos happened a long time ago. And this is one of them. That formation never happened underwater because when this happened underwater, the eruption, normally we have tooth cone or tooth volcano. So like the other day we saw Kicker Rock. But this one here is different. So it is scoria like this, like we have around here. So this formation never happened underwater. The sea level was about, in Galapagos, was about 130 meters lower. So 360 feet lower than now. So that part was connected to Floreana, and the most of the islands there were connected to each other because it was the sea level was lower than now.
The science team heads down the mountain to the waiting Pangas that will soon take them back to the galaxy. Was it really that far? It hadn't seemed so on the way up. Let's take this opportunity to clarify the purpose of our trip. Remember what we said in the first video of this series? It was to be different from anything you've seen, but it isn't. We said it would be a documentary, a travelogue, or a video series, like others you may have watched before, but it isn't. So yes, it is a documentary, a travelogue, and a video series, but as you know by now, it's much more. It's a scientific educational expedition led by a group of homeschoolers. After researching and studying for nearly a year, the students now wish to conduct their own research. This scientific expedition has a biblical worldview. They are engaging in first-hand observational research rather than relying on what others have written. And it has a clear purpose: to seek God's fingerprint in the Galapagos Islands personally.
I am sitting here looking like this with this hat on because I cannot find my expedition hat. If anybody has any information on the whereabouts of my expedition hats with its corks, I must be told. I had to resort to buying a new hat, but this is good because this one keeps the sun off. You see, I'm sitting in the middle of the Galapagos Islands. Right now, I'm in the dining room of our beautiful floating hotel, the Galaxy, And of course it's equatorial, so I needed my sun protection. I guess I'm just going to have to wave my hands to keep the bugs away because I don't know where my expedition hat went. I think one of my students might have appropriated it for something we did in the past.
Doesn't look like a show to me.
The remains.
It's a green turtle egg. Because thing is, you know, this is the last, actually 3 weeks ago, we had a really high tide. And actually, all this, sometimes remove all the eggs that are under the sand in the nest. That because around here, the green turtles, they are not able to lay the eggs in the higher area because we have this little wall over here. So if they lay the eggs around here, it's going to be damaged by the water. So this is what happened. So around the other side is better place because the sand go a little bit higher. Typical yellow flowers that we have in the Lake of Carpus Pinafitidus. Yeah, it's very nice.
They almost look like a daisy.
Okay, so the adaptation of some of the plants here in the Galapagos is really amazing. Like this Palo Santo or sandalwood. This sandalwood tree is actually, they drop the leaves in order to survive during the dry season. Right now is the end of the rainy season, so this is going to disappear in probably about 20 days. But it's going to, we're going to have like the green color underneath. So this tree don't need the leaves to survive. So you can see under the skin we have a little green color, and it's all the entire tree is like this. So the white color that we have is to reflect the sun, but underneath we have green, the chlorophyll, to produce a photosynthesis function, and the plants can survive. Galapagos is flamingo. We have only about 500 of them in all the islands, and the most of the population we have around Isabela, where we have bigger places to survive. Actually, they eat the Artemia, which is a shrimp that grow around here, very small, but the Artemia also eat a fungus. And just the Darwin Center, they found that we don't have too much, too many Artemias, shrimps around here, but the fungus is really the food that they get directly. So this is why the fungus around here is kind of pink, and this is the pigmentation of the flamingos. The babies, they come out just about 11 days on the nest, and then they going to eat by themselves. It's not happening with the blue-footed boobies or Pelecaniformis family. Stay more than a year sometimes. But here, the frigate birds. But here, the flamingos, 11 days, and then they start to eat by themselves. They're really cute, When they are young, they are white, and then later on they get the pigmentation, the pink color.
So do we know the pH of this?
No, I don't know exactly, but okay, of course, why not? This is why we're here.
We have to cross out there to get it. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, but we have a little bit of
of water there. This is Molly.
Yes. That's all right. We just stick a pH strip in it.
We need the box. But
All right,
we have
now-
to rinse it because we can't see it. Because I don't have distilled water.
I believe it's number 8.
8 will turn it so
Wow.
tip it. Tip is
Yeah,
at 8
it's
or
like
9.
8. Wow.
Looks like 8. It's not blue enough to be
Yeah,
9.
it's 8.
So it's very alkaline.
Alkaline, yeah.
Alkaline, not
Alkaline, yeah.
acid. Here we are on beautiful Floreana Island on the south side at a specific bay,
It's called Cormorant Point, actually.
and it is beautiful. And we came to look at this area because it's the place where the green turtles enjoy coming to nest. Now, we've only been here a couple days, but have we had a fantastic time?
Yes, we
Yes.
have.
Yes.
Have we seen any of the special things you were hoping to see?
Please pick me. Please.
I think we should
shouldn't.
go. Okay.
Okay.
What did you want to see and what have you seen?
I wanted to see the blue-footed booby, and I have seen it a lot. And the blue-footed booby is best known for its torpedo bombing in the water. It can be 100 feet in the air, and it goes down in the water at 60 miles per hour, and it goes 80 feet under the water.
60 miles an hour when it hits the water.
Yes.
Okay. So why do its brains not like burst out every time it hits the water? I guess that would only happen once, but why do its brains not burst out?
Well, God has created air sacs that lines its skull, so it doesn't blow up.
That's amazing. Kind of like the cars that we drive with air sacs. I tell you, there's no new thing under the sun. We get our ideas sometimes from what's already created. That's amazing. Now, it goes down very deep. Well, is it looking for food at the bottom?
No, ma'am, it goes under the fish because the fish can't look down. It snatches it up and eats it.
Okay. I can't do that when I dive because I get all this water up my nose. How can they do this?
Well, God has permanently closed their nostrils, so they breathe through the corners of their mouth.
So there's no water going up their noses at all when they do this. That's pretty amazing, isn't
And
it?
also, they have great eyesight, so that way they can see the fish far away when they're on the
That's
cliff.
very special. So what you're telling me is that could be classified as a fingerprint, one of the ones we're looking for?
Yes, ma'am.
That's awesome. Now, what about their mating? Do we know anything about their mating? Do they do something special when they mate?
Oh, they do something incredibly special. The male, he starts strutting around with showing off his blue feet.
His
And-
blue feet?
Yes.
And they're not slippers or socks. He really has blue feet?
Yes. And if the female agrees to mate with him, then she will start doing the same thing, and they will strut around and sky point, and the female, which is spreading out their wings and looking to the sky, and the female will honk, and the male will do a soft whistle.
So they have two different sounds.
Yes.
So, guys, you don't have blue feet, but you have blue shirts. So, can you dance for us? Okay. Do you want to tell us about the sticks? What's with the sticks? I got the dance and the sound, but what about the sticks?
They exchange their sticks to make a nest, but when they actually lay their 2 to 3 pale blue to green eggs, they take the sticks away.
That's amazing. So all of this is part of their ritual. Did you see this?
Yes, ma'am, I
You
did.
did. Do you realize that you're one of the few people in the world that saw something special? Wow. Okay, now I happen to know that you had a really interesting creature you wanted to see.
Yes.
What was that?
It was the waved albatross, and I did in fact get to see it. It is in fact the largest seabird. It has a wingspan of 90 to 97 inches. So Holt is 6'4", so that's about almost 2 feet taller than Holt is.
So Holt could almost be the wings of a
He'd be a
waved
little baby.
albatross, but he'd be a babe. Hands up, Holt. There we go.
Yay!
Yay.
There you go. That's about
That's
the wingspan.
huge.
Yes.
But that must be a very heavy bird.
It's about a 6 to 9 pound bird. So for a bird, it's very, very heavy. Very fat Holt.
How does a bird that size and with that much weight get off the ground?
Well, they can't actually just take off right from the ground. They have to somehow waddle their way over because they're very clumsy on land and they're obviously very heavy. And so they're very clumsy on land, so they kind of strut around and they wiggle their head and they find a cliff, a very windy area with a cliff, and they kind of run, so to speak, with their wings spread, and they flap them and jump off the edge and fly away.
You know, recently when I was in New Zealand, I saw people doing that and I thought they were crazy. They put on these makeshift artificial wing things and they ran to the edge of a cliff and they jumped. Now I know where they got that idea from. Well, those were two pretty special birds. Very special. What color was your waved albatross?
It's a grayish, whitish color. It's mainly a gray-brown, and the underside is white. But it has, along its like wings, like right here, it's gray, but then it has wavy gray lines along the bottom, which is where it gets its name.
That's where it gets its name. Interesting. Okay,
Yes.
so that was a pretty awesome bird. Didn't we see some coming in on the waves?
Yes, they were coming in to mate during this time of the year because the males come back first around late March, and then the females come in shortly after, and they mate for life. So they will search for their mate when they get to the breeding spot, and they'll find that one mate, and then they will.
That's pretty incredible because that was
Yes.
a big area and there were a lot of
Very,
birds. That really is amazing. Now, the blue-footed booby, it really does have blue feet, doesn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
What's special about the blue feet? I mean, you know.
Well, not only does it attract a female, but it also has an increased blood supply. So that way, both the egg will sit on top of their feet, and they will sit on the egg to keep it warm.
Really?
And the young chicks.
That's interesting. Yes, I guess temperature's a big deal here because, you know, we've got all this lava rock and then we've got cooler evenings. But I think there were some other animals we saw yesterday that I was under the impression you were really hoping to see.
I was really excited to see the marine iguana. It's actually endemic to the Galapagos, meaning it's only found here and nowhere else naturally.
Amazing.
It's also the only seagoing lizard in the world.
There's a population of roughly 200,000 to 300,000 here in the Galapagos, which means experts aren't really worried about it becoming extinct or endangered anytime soon.
Nope. And they're found in aggregations of 10 to 1,000 individuals.
And you'll find those aggregations somewhere on the rocks, the cliffs, or ledges, and sometimes intertidal flats, specifically on the southern ends of islands where the wave action is increased, because that will deposit more algae, which they like to eat. They eat 9 different types of algae, both green and red.
What about the brown? I've seen a lot of brown washed up on the beaches here.
The brown algae is actually toxic to them, and during El Nino years, when the current's warmer and being brought up from South America, that will actually deposit more brown algae, which is going to thin out the population of iguanas because they have nothing else to eat.
Well, we must not be in an El Nino right now because the population did not look thinned out to me. Did it look
No, it
thin
did
to
not.
you?
That's for sure.
I noticed something very intriguing. Some of them were lying just flat like this on the lava rock. And then we took a hike, and when we came back, they were kind of with their heads up and half their bodies up. Do you know anything about that?
Well, the reason that some of them are lying down and some of them are standing up is because the lava rocks are black, so they produce heat. Now, marine iguanas need to maintain a body temperature of around 35 degrees Celsius. So when they're cold, they'll lie down on the lava rocks, which are black, and attract heat to warm themselves. But when they get too hot, then they stand up, and it allows the wind to come under the belly and cool them off.
That's amazing. That really is.
You know, there's something similar with that with the waved albatross. When they're sitting on their egg in their nest, when they get really hot, they will lift up their feathers on their back so the wind can come through and cool them off.
I saw that. Did you see some of that yesterday?
Yes,
So
I did.
that's why they're doing that. Well, I was thinking about something. When I went snorkeling, I had on this wetsuit, and so I stayed very warm in that cold water. how do these iguanas stay warm in the water? I mean, how long do they stay in the water? Isn't that going to be harmful?
Well, you see, the temperature difference is more pronounced for the iguanas because they're ectotherms, meaning they're cold-blooded.
Okay.
And since they strive to maintain a body temperature around 35 degrees Celsius, it gets to be a problem when they dive into the water. They'll dive in the water for up to 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the day, and they'll dive up to depths of 10 to 15 meters. The water gets pretty cold. And when they do that, they'll lose up to 10 degrees Celsius of their body temperature. When their temperature's that low, they can't metabolize their food, so it just sits in their stomach undigested. In order to fix this, they will sunbathe and things like that, but they can also shunt blood away from their body while they're diving, and that keeps their body a little bit warmer. They also like to sleep in huddles at night as another way to conserve heat amongst the group or aggregation.
So like on top of each other? Because I thought I saw some of
really
that.
close,
Yeah.
top, everywhere.
That's just absolutely incredible. We really have seen fingerprints here, haven't we?
Yes,
These are
yes.
things that could not have survived if they didn't have that ability. Well, here we are on one of the beaches in Floreana, Dr. Purdom and myself, surrounded by bugs.
Yes.
Yes, lots of bugs.
Very much so.
So this is proof positive that we are not on a set where we're just faking it. This is for real, on site, and if we're swatting the bugs, it's because they're real bugs. But we've seen a lot of interesting things today. And one of the things that I noticed, and I think I overheard you speaking about this as well, was the scalesia, the plant. What do we call that back home? We don't.
Well, back home we call it the sunflower, and but here on the Galapagos Islands it grows very differently
Yes.
than at home. At home it's an herbaceous, considered herbaceous because it has a green stem to it. But here on the islands it actually grows more like a tree, and so it's very woody. And so it's interesting, and it only grows that way, at least in these islands, like that, like in a tree form.
That's what I thought. Now, as I was reading, I actually saw that they referenced this as an example of adaptive radiation. And first and foremost, I think a lot of people don't even know the term adaptive radiation. So could you just explain what that term means and whether you've got any examples you're aware of where that is true?
Well, a really good example of that is Darwin's finches, and that's probably the easiest way to explain adaptive radiation because you have at least some initial finches or finch pair that came to the island.
Yes.
And from that, they spread out to all the different islands, and because there's different conditions on each island, through natural selection and other mechanisms, they were able to adapt to the specific type of food that was available, whatever else might be in the environment. So you have a lot of different species of finch as a result of that, using different food sources with different beak sizes and other things that are different about them. So that's like an excellent example of adaptive radiation.
So we don't really know whether it would be accurate then to say that the sunflower is exhibiting adaptive radiation.
No, we don't
To
know
take
that
study.
because there's like a set of criteria that have to be met. And really Darwin's finches are the only ones that actually meet those criteria that they've decided for adaptive radiation, so to speak.
So when we just casually read that in a book, we probably need to stop and step back and go, okay,
Yeah,
here's the list of criteria and does this specify?
you need to be careful about it, yes, because not everything is adaptive radiation. Just some things have adapted to their environment, sure, but is that an example of where we see other types of scalesia possibly on other islands or in other areas?
Okay, I asked the girls at my table if they could put 3 words into a sentence. They thought that I was being very, very obnoxious because I was trying to calm them down and make them a little bit quieter. So I said, use the 3 words, defeat, defense, and detail in a sentence. And he came up with something. And I said, no, the southern answer is much, much better. This is what I think of when those 3 words come up. The horse jumped over defense, defeat first and last of all detail.
And
That's it.
what did they think of that?
Well, they collapsed after that. It didn't achieve the results that I was hoping for. So
I kind of just started laughing more, actually. Yeah. Yeah. So it didn't work very well to calm us down.
So the horse
jumps over defense, defeats first, and last of all detail.
Detail.
Now they know it.
Yes.